Hi everyone, I'm Huub Hildenbrand. Thanks for tuning into my channel, Huub Hildenbrand Guitar Academia. Today we have lesson 6 of Turkish classical music, and we will talk about accidentals and the distances to build scales or tetra and pentachords in Turkish classical music. So let's get right into the endless ocean of music. So today we will talk about the distances and accidentals used in Turkish classical music. So please download the PDF file. You find a link down in the description below. And we will refer to this. These are 2 pages, and you have all these accidentals and distances used in Turkish classical music right on it, written down. Okay, so in Turkish classical music we use, of course, like different accidentals. We need them because to notate music we can't. Our accidentals just give us these 12 tones we have in our system, of course. So we need different accidentals, and as I said, as you hopefully know by now, the whole step, so from C to D, is divided into 9 commas. So 9 equal distances, 9 commas. 9, you can say microtones when we see it from our Western perspective. You have to remember that actually none of the Turkish microtones, none of the 53, with just one exception, none of them match with our 12-tone system. So we have to be really careful about these accidentals, because we also will find our normal accidentals. I mean, what means not normal? I mean, just the accidentals used in Western notation, music notation, but they're also a bit different than in this Western notation, of course. We will come to this now. Okay, please get this page out, accidentals and distances. It's that page. And on it you find all the different accidentals you need for Turkish classical music. On the top line we have Coma. It's just a comma. It means just 1 comma, so almost 24 cent, you remember. And we have always these 2 forms. We have diesis and we have bemol. So we have a B version, so a flat version, a lowering version of the accidental, and a sharpening version, dièse, called in Turkish music. Comes actually, I think, from French terminology. So we have, if we lower the note by just 1 comma, we use a small b, but we mirror it, like vertical mirror. So it's a bit twisted around, you can say. So this b just means lower the note by 1 comma. And the sharp version of it, the diesis, looks a bit like a sharp, but it misses one vertical line, you can say. So it's just 1 line in these 2 diagonal lines. This means 1 comma sharp. So these 2 accidentals are already completely new to the Western system, so they will not really give us any trouble understanding them, of course. But how about the accidentals used in used in our in the Western system too. So we have a B, a normal B, and a normal sharp. But be careful, a normal sharp means just 4 comma. 4 comma, and remember, one whole step is 9 comma, so the sharp is not really in the middle of the whole step. In the middle of the whole step, it would be like a note which would be like a 4.5 comma up or down. That's the middle of a whole step in Turkish music. But we don't have this. We have only a normal sharp, which is 4 comma, and we call this note bakiye. This sharp. It's a bakiye diesis. So how about the B? We have the B in the Western music notation, and we have the B in the classical Turkish music. And the B in the classical Turkish music means 5 comma lower. 5 comma lower, and this interval, this B, is called küçük müçenep. Küçük müçenep is 5 comma lower. It's a 5 comma lower B, and this B equals the 4 comma higher sharp, the bakiye. So we can say, like as in Western music, we have a sharp, normal sharp, and a normal B, but these both are actually a bit lower than the equal temperament half step we have in the 12-tone system. So the sharp, bakiye, diesis, is 4 comma higher, and the B, the küçük müçenep, is 5 comma lower. So and when you see the other page of the PDF, accidentals, you will just see them that they're lined on top of each other. So they are defining the same distance or the same note. You can say. All right. So the next is a sharp, which looks different than our sharp. It's just one line and 3 diagonal lines, and this sharp is like a küçük müçenep diesis, and this küçük müçenep diesis is 5 comma higher. So it's a bit higher than our Western half step. And equivalent to this sharp, we have also a B with this line, with this diagonal line through. And this is called bakiye bemol, and it is 4 commas lower. So this küçük müçenep diesis is 5 commas higher. The bakiye bemol is 4 commas lower. So they also meet at the same spot in the range of the whole tone, and this is something you also can see in this other page with the accidentals. This one here, where you see they're just lined on top of each other. Then you also have a double sharp, like this X we use in Western music, but of course it's a bit different in Turkish classical music, because this double sharp, this whole tone in Turkish music is a bit bigger, a bit like 4 cent bigger. It's a bigger, larger distance. The same goes with double flat. Double flat you also can find in Turkish music. Actually, these are not very common. But in theory, this is equivalent to the Western double flat, but of course it's 204 cent lower. In the Western system, it's just 200 cent lower. So be careful with these different accidentals, because the meaning of them differs. I mean, you have the same. Some of the accidentals are really look the same in Turkish classical music as in Western music notation, but sometimes they mean a slightly different thing. So what you also have in this music is an eighth note, an eighth comma distance, and this eighth comma distance, this is called a büyük müçenep. Am I right? Yes, büyük müçenep. And as a büyük müçenep bemol, you have a B with two diagonal lines, and büyük müçenep diezis, you have a sharp with a kind of extra diagonal line. And I think it's pretty clear when you see the when you see these two pages. I think this is this makes it very clear. And also you see on these pages that a comma lower B is exactly in the same spot in the distance of an whole step as a eighth comma diezis, sharp. So a büyük müçenep diezis meets the same distance, then lowering the whole step with just one comma. And the same goes for the büyük müçenep bemol. This lowers the whole tone by 8 commas, and this is the same distance in this whole step as if you would just raise the pitch by 1 comma, one sharp, 1 comma diezis. Okay, let's clarify now the distances, because they are very important. They are the only and main building blocks of scales in Turkish classical music. And remember, I already introduced you to this concept a little. We not really think so much whole scales already, like 7-note scales. We are thinking mostly in tetra and pentachords. And when we have scales, we think them as a combination of a tetra and a pentachord. And of course we give them also a name, like a scale of 7 notes. They will also get a name. But the building blocks of scales of the whole Turkish classical music, they are actually penta and tetra chords. And these tetra and penta chords, they are built by using 5 different intervals. So 5 different intervals are used, and they all have an abbreviated letter. So these letters, they are actually used to clarify and to write the exact structure, the exact distances of a tetra and pentachord. It's like in Western music, we have a whole step and we have a half step, and we have an augmented whole step. And these usually these 3 are the building blocks, the 3 intervals, how we are building scales in our music. Like all these church modes, or harmonic minor, melodic minor, harmonic major, or whole tone, half tone, whole tone scale, all these scales are built by half step, whole steps, or augmented seconds. Of course, in Turkish classical music, we have more notes, so we have more possibilities, or we have you can say we have variations of these three intervals. Mainly we can say we also have a half step, a whole step, and an augmented second, but we have variations, and of course they are a bit different, of course, in the Western music, Western equal temperament. Okay, so what are these distances? The smallest distance we use is a 5 comma distance. And this 5 comma distance, also called bakir, we use a capital B. So the same as in Western music, we say, okay, 1 or half or augmented second or 2 or flat 2. I mean, these kind of these intervals, distances. We have letters for the different distances in Turkish classical music. So a 4 comma distance, 4 comma B, or a 4 comma B or a 4 comma sharp is called a bakir, and we use a capital B for this. The next larger interval is a küçük müçenep, and this küçük müçenep is 5 commas, and for this we use a capital letter S. Then we have 8 commas. 8 commas is like a büyük müçenep, and for 8 commas we use K, a capital letter K. And then we have the whole step. We talked a lot about this, also the building block of the major scale or the charga. Remember? We use 9 comma. 9 comma is almost really this equivalent to our whole step. And in Turkish music we call this tanini, and the letter of it, the symbol, is a capital T. So you can say we have a smaller whole step, which is a K, 8 commas, and we have the normal bigger whole step, which is a T, 9 commas. And also we have a smaller half step, the B, 4 commas, and we have the bigger half step, the 5 comma S. And what we also have in Turkish music, as in Western music, we have the augmented second. And this interval is called artic ikili. And this artic ikili is 12 commas. And there also occasionally you will find this interval also with 13 commas. And this will really get clear when we go into the practical use of them, and we go into the actually tetra and pentachords and makam. So these first lessons are really to clarify the necessary theory to have a strong basis where we can build on. So we don't have to later on. We don't have to go into the nitty-gritty. You can say. Okay, so one important thing is that very frequently these T and B distances, they go together, and the K and S distances go together. So for example, with these T and B, we can build all these church modes, for example, we use in Western music, and most of them we also have in Turkish music, and they are just a little bit different, of course, intonation-wise, but really mostly very little bit. And so we can use TTB, for example, for a major tetrachord. So from C, a T whole step to D, another T whole step to 9 comma whole step to E, and then a 4 comma half step, a B to F. So C, D, E, F is T, T, B, the structure. And K and S go together. So what a very common tetrachord in Turkish classical music is KST. KST is Uşak, and KST is K 8 commas, S 5 commas, and T is 9 commas. So compare these two forms. You can say these two forms of a minor third. We have a minor third, which is in both cases 13 comma, and we can build it by having a T and a B. So 9 plus 4 is 13, so we come to the same note as S or KS. K is 8, S is 5. So we also have 13. We will reach the same minor third. So that's why we very frequently we have K and S beside each other in the progression of the intervals of a tetra or pentachord, or T and B. You can also see it like that. We have T and B, 13 comma, S and K, or K and S, 13 comma. So when we do like K and S and T and B, it's actually just lowering the middle tone by 1 comma. So the outside the outside distance, the range of a minor third stays, but the middle tone goes a comma lower. So just by doing that, we make out of a TB, we make a KS. Okay, and then we also just have to clear these terms here on this accidentals and distances page. We have ekşik for diminished. We have küçük for small or minor. We say like a küçük second is like a minor second, and a büyük second is a major second, or a whole step, you can say. And we have artic. Artic is augmented. So ekşik diminished, küçük small, büyük big, artic augmented. So also this is important to know. In practical use, we will not, and this of course we will make very clear later, we will deviate a little bit from this very, very clear, intellectually clear concept of these accidentals. So in practical use, we will use some accidentals in certain circumstances in a tetra or pentachord. They will vary a bit. And this variation can go up 2 more commas lower actually. And these two accidentals which will do this, or which can do this, so we have to be, later on we have to be really clear about in which circumstance, in which tetra and pentachord we can lower it and in which not. So there are certain tetrachords where we can lower the 1 comma B, by 1 or 2 more commas. And this, not just 1 comma, but 2 or 3 lowered B, bemol, is also called like an ekşik bakiye bemol. So normally this, and the symbol is this inverted B. So if we find this symbol, we have to know the context, that we are really clear about, is it just 1 comma lower or 2 or 3 commas lower. So just to keep in mind, to prepare you for this these things which will happen. But we will make this clear. And the same goes for the sharp. The normal sharp looks actually quite harmless, you can say. It's just a half step higher in our Western music. But in Turkish music, this half step can also be 1 or 2 commas lower. So the sharp, this sharp, normal sharp, which is actually a bakiye, is 4 commas higher. And in practical use, it can sometimes vary to 3 or even 2 commas higher only. So we can even make this sharp 1 or 2 more commas lower. And we will talk about this. And the same goes with these S intervals. These S intervals, sometimes we make out of these 5 comma, we make 6 comma. We can do this sometimes. Okay, but we will really make this clear. And of course, one important thing is that normally music wasn't developed the way we are the way I'm teaching you this subject. Music, of course, was developed by practically doing it, and later on, all these theories and these ideas and concepts and more logic ways of understanding what is actually happening, they came later. So actually, with no theoretical system, you don't have any exceptions, and no system will explain the whole music, really. Like also in the Western system, these 12 notes, they are not always, it's not always the case to just make these intonation that way. For example, in a string quartet, or when you have a choir or something, you vary these notes. The intonation changes a bit. So you also have microtones, you can say. And same in Turkish music. You have these 53 notes, comma, but sometimes you can use in between notes also. And I tried a lot actually to find systems which are really working, and they are very precise and logical, and maybe derived from the harmonic scale, the overtone series. so from natural laws, you could say, but you always fail. You always will fail with this. No theory in the world will give you the whole picture, or will be actually stable or working or complete for this kind of music in itself. So there will be always exceptions, and yeah. So mostly it's like you have a system, then you can almost explain everything, but then you come to these little things where you think, okay, for this system doesn't work. So, and of course it's always your ear should tell you. The ear always, hopefully, always know more than your intellect. Because if your ear tells you, this is right, this sounds good, this fits, it fits. And I'm explaining you this Turkish classical music very systematically, you can say. I'm starting with all these theoretical. We are clearing this music by going these small steps to really go one step higher and to explain you the theory. So we come from the theory to the music. And this is, of course, very, very artificial, you can say, because no music almost no music is developed by theory or by some intellectuals who thought, okay, let's invent a new style now. No, that's not the case. I mean, if this would be the case, this music, I'm pretty sure, would never survive, because music has to do with emotions, with the feelings, with the people themselves, and they create music mostly out of a need to have this music that it gives them something. I mean, if it doesn't give the people you something, what's the use of it? So there must be something there, and so this music is always developed by playing, by hearing, by improvising, of course by thinking about it. But all these systems, they always come later. So that's also why they just, you can say, they explaining the past, and they're explaining one perspective from now to this music. But if you go deeper into it, if you ask more questions, and you want to really know why it is this in a certain way, you will be very quick confronted with this with the limitations of any system has so many limitations actually, and but okay, I don't want to scare you. It will not be so difficult and hard and impossible to learn this Turkish classical music. This is it's a pretty clear thing. But you have to, of course, you have to know some things, and you have to also know some exceptions. And this sharp and the B, the inverted B and the normal Western looking sharp, they vary. And you also find this as a footnotes on this page, accidentals and distances. There you already find also some words of tetra and pentachords of maqams like Saba, Ushak, Husseini, or Sega, and these things. And don't care about them now. We will go into this later. Maybe just watch this lesson again if you need, and really understand these things we spoke about. Okay, up until now we talked a lot about theory, and we we really build a really strong foundation, a really strong knowledge about the whole thing, without playing any note, of course, up until now. But I think as we progress and we go next lesson 7, we start to really go into this the practical use and the music and building this tetra and pentachords and hearing all these sounds. And I think by then you really have a big advantage of a lot of people who couldn't really find this kind of information and this kind of foundation, actually, that we can really come to the music and the tetra and pentachords on a very strong foundation, where we don't have to ask so many questions and go into the nitty-gritty of it and things. I think you will really see that it was really worth it to do these lessons up until now. Okay, if you like this lesson, please don't forget to subscribe to my channel. There will come a lesson. I will publish a lesson every week. And you can also donate. You can support me when you go to my website, guitar-academia.com. There you find a button where you can donate. So, thanks for watching. My name is Huub Hildenbrand.